Welcome to the Channeling Spirit Virtual Summit, a platform where we have invited Spirit to share messages, healings, and transmissions with all of us. May this energetic experience help us to expand our awareness and to deepen the relationship we have with our higher self, our spiritual team, and with Source, however we define them. Thank you for being here and for taking part in this amazing journey. Hello and welcome to the Channeling Spirit Virtual Summit Season 7. Very excited to be with you guys again. Those of you that are new to us, welcome. Those of you that are coming back, welcome back. Always an honor to play in your collective energies to co-create this event with all of you. And I don't even know what to say to you guys today. So, opening ceremony. What I typically do during the opening ceremony is I open up a sacred space and I allow us to just kind of center and connect with who we are and what we are doing within this experience, within this summit. So whether you're joining us live or you're joining us virtually, you're with us all the same. That's one of the nice things about playing with energy and playing with spirit, is that there's no limitation of time and space. So you guys are all with us. So let's just take a moment. Just take some breaths, some conscious breaths. Just allow yourself to recognize your awareness. Notice what you notice within your internal experience. Just allow yourself to notice shifts in your perspective, shifts in your awareness as you allow yourself to relax and prepare yourself to connect with spirit more deeply and more expansively than you have. To the beings of light and the energy of life, wrap your golden healing light around us. Help us learn the power of presence to release the past and the future all at once. Guide us to walk with beauty and grace. Teach us that beauty is always within us, around us, and surrounding us. Protecting the sacred space, show us the path inwards to your own inner self, where we radiate the unconditional love of our heart. Teach us the way of peace and integrity. Help us remember ancient wisdom, ancient knowledge, and to drink deeply from the well of immortality. Whisper to us in the wind, in the crackle of the fire, in the sacred space of our heart. We are thankful and grateful to you who have come before us and after us. Teach us to walk the sacred path. Thank you for kicking us out of the nest so that we would learn to grow our own wings. Take us to higher grounds and illuminate our destiny. Teach us to always see through the eyes of our heart. We celebrate all those that live within you, around you, and surrounding you. We celebrate all of our relations and everything we have experienced. Thank you for sustaining us in these lifetimes. Sing to us and teach us to remember who we are. Hold us in between the tick and the tock, between the spaces of time, Hold us in the place of infinity, where all the stories exist simultaneously, where all the healing happens instantly. Thank you for bringing us together, for letting us sing our soul songs one more day in one more way. Teach us that we are the ones we have been searching for and waiting for. And just take a moment within your own journey, recognizing the different energies of life that you align with, giving thanks and gratitude and appreciation for all of your divine companions and co-creators in this lifetime, both in physical form and in spiritual form. I give gratitude to the collective energies that have co-conspired in the creation of this event. Thank you for being here with us. To the love and light of the divine, thank you for guiding us, for being with us, and allowing us to shine even more brightly today. Our guides, mentors, masters, angels, loved ones, thank you for walking with us, being part of our journey, and we appreciate you coming to play with us during these amazing conversations as well. To the beings of light, the master healers, thank you for allowing us to create a safe and sacred space to play in, and for us to allow ourselves to heal across this dimension and other dimensions as a result of our expansive awareness and our ability to connect with the truth of who we are even more cleanly, effortlessly, perfectly. Thank you all for being here. And I'll just invite you to just take some breaths and just allow yourself to come back into your physical body, come back into the room. Beautiful. Thank you. So welcome to episode 1 of the Channeling Spirit Virtual Summit Season 7. My name is Daniel Martinez Stahl, and playing with me today is Gita Rose. Gita was a recommendation from one of our listeners, actually. She reached out to me saying that I needed to reach out to Gita, which I did a few days ago. And we had a lovely conversation. And I've never worked with Gita, so it's always a lot of fun and exciting to play with new energies and see where the conversation goes. But I'll let her introduce herself, and as usual, we will take it from there.
Hello, Daniel. Thank you so much for having me. My apologies. I just realized that I don't have my computer plugged in. So pardon me just one moment.
Not a problem. So, welcome back and welcome. The Channeling Spirit Virtual Summit is a platform where we invite spirit to have a voice. And what that means for all of us is that it allows us and invites us to connect with our inner self, with our inner wisdom, with our own spiritual intelligence at a deeper, more profound level. The conversations that we're going to have for the next 4 days are going to talk about humanly things and spiritual things and different topics and different aspects, which are all a lot of fun and lovely. And the reminder for all of us is to just recognize that this is a vibrational experience. This is an opportunity to play in a different level of consciousness than we normally do on a day-to-day. And the invitation to bring that level of connection to our day-to-day. And so thank you all for being here with us, and I will turn it back to Gita.
Thank you so much, Daniel, and aloha kako, aloha everyone. Thank you so much for hosting this space for all of us, Daniel. It's an honor to be here, and thank you to everyone for co-creating in this experience that is the spiritual experience of human life, right? Exactly as you said, too, the potency and the necessity of bringing it into our day-to-day experience is a lot of what perhaps we'll get into today with myself and with Bella. But yeah, just to give you all a brief introduction in that way of who I am. I was raised in musical theater. So from a very early age, my imagination was expanded, and I was always in some form of channeling. Um, as it's been shown to me, anytime that we're doing something that we love to do, anytime that we are in a flow state, we are actually channeling, because we are bringing in more of our true spirit essence, more of the voice into the spirit that is our true nature in every moment. A lot of the times we think of channeling being connected to something that has quote unquote spiritual definitions to it. But it can be anything. It can be cooking, it can be making a meal, singing a song. Even modern neuroscience is understanding this to be the flow state. So in my experience of channeling, I'd been channeling since I was very young in theater, and raising my vibration through expression. I was always connected to spirit and to elementals and the spirit of Yeshua and the spirit of my ancestors since I was a child. But I think, like most of us, we kind of choose to crystallize ourselves deeper into the physical illusion, just so that we have the experience of remembering ourselves back to the perspective that knows it has made the illusion. So for a few years there, as I was very focused in musical theater, I did not have as much conscious recollection of these different extra-dimensional spaces. I then left school after graduating and knew that there was an invitation for a whole new version of my life, something that was very unexpected because it was so different. I was beginning to awaken up to this spirit nature of all of us. And shortly after graduating college, I then realized I was heading down a very slippery slope in terms of substance abuse. And it presented itself as a very natural path for me of exploring traditional Buddhist meditation. So my exploration, and I guess, again, what we would define as spiritual spaces, was always coming from a very pragmatic application of it. I was coming first and foremost from knowing that I needed to catch my mind from spinning deeper. And so I was never necessarily exploring mystical or spiritual spaces. But shortly after the beginning of very traditional meditation, I then met a friend of mine who was the first like psychic, clair audio, clairvoyant, all the things. And I was immediately inspired and there was an aspect of my being that felt like a little girl that was like, wait a minute, this is all real? Like, really? Like, you got to tell me everything. And so she gave me a psychic reading one day, and her exact words were, you have all of these ETs in your space. And I was like, you're going to have to define that for me in a variety of different ways. I really have no idea what you're talking about. And she was like, well, aliens. And I was like, aliens? Okay, what do you mean, like my space? And she was like, in your auric field, in your soul agreements. And in that moment, it was a remembering, a literally remembering of more of my soul spirit self into my body. Time kind of stopped. And I remembered that the existence of what we would define as interdimensionals, extra dimensionals, aliens, extraterrestrials has played and continues to play a big part with the story of humanity, and also vice versa, because really it's a spiral that is exploring itself, not a linear experience. But I remembered in that moment, oh, duh. Yeah, of course, aliens exist, and really they're family. And then from there, me and this friend continued to spend time together. And one evening, she offered me to smoke some cannabis. And I was like, all through high school, it would put me in very deep transcendental meditative states where I was speaking with God. And as I shared with you, Daniel, when we chatted the other day, it was literally, I was in this completely alternate reality, and my kind of punk rock friends are like playing video games and listening to the Misfits, and I'm over here talking with God. And I didn't have a foundation of awareness, so it really kind of freaked me out when I was young. And so I didn't smoke weed. But in this moment with the friend of mine, and this was, just to give some context, this was in 2009. And so, yeah, in that moment, I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'm kind of accomplished a little bit more in these kind of mystic states since practicing this meditation. And again, the memories were beginning to start to waken up in my cells. And so I said, yeah, okay, let's go. So I took one like really good, strong hit, and immediately all this fear started coming up. And my friend is such a beautiful guide. She was able to help me go through like a type of parts work exercise where I identified the fear, allowed the fear to take on a form. It actually took on the form of a dragon. And then systematically, step by step, I got closer and closer down to see the dragon down at the lip of the stage. And all of the scales turned into mirrors. Hey, no kihavahine. We'll get into that a little bit later, what exactly that is. The recognition essentially of this primordial feminine energy, the uli, the feminine energy that is awakening in each and every one of us. And in that moment of recognition of the scales of the mirrors and everything being in to out and out to in, and just this innate interconnectivity of all of everything, it calmed my nervous system enough to pop up back into this very condensed, specific experience of being kind of in this almost just like a casing of spirit. And I was aware in that moment that I was speaking, but also I was receiving messages coming from a different part of my own brain. And I was very comfortable with the state of kind of being in this split type of consciousness because of being in theater. And what was given to me in that moment was a type of invitation. They said, we are what you would understand to be extraterrestrial in nature. This is how we are making contact with your civilization. This is how we make contact with civilizations, is through a type of biological telephone. And that is so that people can resonate with the heart experience. And so that it really kind of, I suppose, humanizes the experience of these entities. And they did share that they were genetically connected to us. And they said that, yeah, this will be a process. We won't sugarcoat it for you. In times it will be a little bit challenging. You'll feel alienated, pun intended. But at the end of the day, we can guarantee for you that you will know that magic is real, and that you will also know that everything that you believed when you were a child in terms of the innate connectivity, the magic, the flexibility of reality, that imagination is the key. Everything that you will know, everything that you knew when you were a child, we will guarantee for you that come a certain point of your journey, you will know that this is really how it is operating. And it was such love. And this perspective from which they were coming from had just absolute objective awareness of the mechanics of creation. It was just this absolute certainty, this ease with it. And they also told me, you will continue to choose and re-choose and redefine this experience. You as the channel of your mind, of your unique essence, is always going to be involved in this experience, and you will continue to choose and re-choose and re-choose. And so, yeah, that being said, what do you choose? And I was like, yeah, let's go. Sign me up. This sounds great. And I came out of the channeling state, and my friend again was comfortable and said, yep, okay, that's called vocal channeling. And here's, what it's a thing. And then I continued on the road of exploration, and I aligned with a few different channelers that were coming from this same hybrid lineage as they present it. So I've now come to know that Bella is a representative of what is referred to as the Yael or the Yael civilization. There's also a variety of channels that come from what has been known as the Sasani lineage. It gets into a lot of canon with who they are and where they say they come from and how they're connected to us. But what I've always really appreciated about Bella and about, in particular, most of the representatives of this lineage, again, depending on the channel that it's coming through, is the absolute stress that it does not matter if all of the details that they present to us about who they are and their story, it doesn't matter at all if that's actually true or not. What matters and what can aid and assist us is how we utilize the sensations, how we utilize the emotions to continue to help us to understand our belief system so that we can continue the refinement of knowing who we are. Because again, it's a very extensive story and canon that they present to us that we'll see if there's time we can get into it. But again, that's always throughout the years why I've continued to do this, is because so much of what Bella and the hybrids aim to help us with is the dismantling of a lot of our spiritual misnomers, meaning we've created an experience of being inside a type of illusion. And we are operating from a set of rules, essentially, that aren't actually the reflection of the laws within creation. There's a different set of laws that can be observed from outside of the illusion. But when we come into this incarnation of our projection, we have completely chosen to forget these innate constructs. And because we're such proficient masters, we're really good at continuing the cycles of confusion. So the absolute practical spirituality combined with this space of just absolute exploration and no insistence whatsoever that we need to believe who they are and where they're coming from. And if anything, especially Bella really encourages us and has said in recent channelings, think of me like a story, please. Please think of me like a story so that you can activate the own translations of the symbols and the theme that always lead back to self-empowerment, the importance of emotional intelligence, and a deep connection with nature as ourselves, as an extension of nature. So yeah, very quickly, I received a lot of reflection that I was not the only one that this was happening to. And then simultaneously, I started receiving synchronicities and dreams to visit Hawaii, the Hawaiian kingdom. And eventually in 2012, I did go and live in Hawaii for a couple of years. And since then, I've continued to go back and forth to connect with many different kupuna, which is the word for the elders, and kahuna, which is the word for kind of like a spiritual teacher. And I would say connecting with the ancient lineages of Mu. So some people might be familiar with the idea of Lemuria. The Hawaiians actually call this ancient civilization Mu. So I am currently in a type of initiation and internship with a variety of Hawaiian individuals. So yeah, that for me, it's been this really beautiful experience of deepening, opening more and more and more into these mystical experiences that are really extremely pragmatic, and more expanding my consciousness as I connect with Bella to be able to remember and function in my day-to-day life more so from the perspective of the operation of these true mechanics, the observation of the functionality of creation itself. And then coming to find that this is the indigenous way of looking at spirit and divinity, and that maybe what we're thinking of as some of these more, well, I would say, yeah, I've reached a point where the perspectives that Bella is presenting really is exactly kind of part and parcel with, in particular, a lot of these ancient Hawaiian lineages. And being able to, again, remove different layers of confusion and complication that we are all so good at doing, and be able to return to more of our true nature, that ironically enough, our true nature, we have chosen for it to be, in a way, the most alien thing to us, so that we actually have something to bounce off of and remember through the experience of contrast. So yeah, that feels sufficient as a bit of an introduction. So yeah, thank you so much again, Daniel, and for everyone for receiving and for being here. And yeah, that's a bit more of who I am.
Excellent. I love the invitation from Bella to take the information as a story. It's something that I talk a lot about when I facilitate spirit journeys and we go to past lives or alternate lives or whatever. I always tell people it's not about the lifetime, it's about the story and the messages that come along with that story. That's the important bit. Whether or not it was real, whether or not it wasn't real, honestly doesn't matter. It's the message and the communication and the feelings, like you say, the emotions, the experience, the felt senses that one has throughout the experience. That is where the growth happens. Whether or not you're actually living in a different planet or a different time on this earth is secondary. It's just it's a story that your higher self and your team use to communicate information to you. And now if it happens to be real, great. But if it isn't, it doesn't really matter.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. And just as you said, that process, you said in the opening meditation connection, that process allows us to get deeper into our hearts. Because essentially what it is that we have agreed to experience in our dense physical dream reality is the illusion and the flip-flop away of our systems. So most of us are operating very deeply from our physical mind. This might also be the masculine aspect of self. All of us, again, this goes and brings in the idea of the Trinity, and this is like kind of cosmic interpretation. And then also, as I'm finding, this is very ancient indigenous understanding as well. That mahalo mo'oku o hao o mahat, mahalo mo'oku o hao hoe va'a mahalo humu ke oni hanale. That each and every one of us are 100% masculine and 100% feminine. These are the energies, the primordial energies that are making our creation in any density, any universe. And especially in our experience of our reality, the feminine has been suppressed and removed of being in the actual space of what is referred to as the leader. Now, again, we're all 100% feminine. We're all 100% masculine. And in our realities, we understand in our physical worlds, we don't want a patriarchy. We understand as well that we don't necessarily want a matriarchy. It's about finding the unified balance of these energies. But again, most of us, because we're in this very dense experience, we are operating from an inflammation of our masculine. Everything is do, do, do. Everything is think, think, think. Everything is categorized as understanding. This is the aspect, again, that really holds the dense belief systems that we have put in place to be able to create a dense reality. But these dense belief systems that we all have, again, are not actually a reflection of the mechanics of creation. So we're in this experience where, in many different ways, this physical mind is on hyper overdrive. It's not really the job of the physical mind to be able to know how, when, why. It's not actually its job to know all of the details of the experience. We are operating in many, many different ways from an inflammation of this space. And it creates anxiety. It creates a lot of pain, a lot of trauma in most of us. The job of the physical mind and of the masculine in this way is to perceive and receive the information coming from the higher mind or coming from the quantum feminine bowl of each being, right? All of us. But if the masculine's moving ahead, thinking he's already gotten the instructions from the internal quantum feminine of all of us, we're never actually landing, most of us, landing deep enough into our bodies to actually receive the instructions that are coming from the feminine, coming from the ball, coming from the quantum, or coming from, a lot of us might think of it as the higher mind, the higher self. Again, it's a snake eating its own tail. It's the Ouroboros in that way. And we all have this true quantum space, this feminine space that, again, in these perspectives is the actual leader. And so the utilization of story, of symbolism, is one of the main ways that this quantum space, the feminine leader, the oracle, the aspect of the body, that knows it's not disconnected from spirit. This is something fun that Bella and her lineage often says, is a lot of times we think that our consciousness is in our body because we have the experience, I hear myself think, or whatever it is. But from the true quantum perspective, our body is in our consciousness. Everything we are experiencing is inside of our consciousness. So a lot of the higher self, again, from these perspectives, the higher selves, the true message coming from that quantum space is also being sent through the body. And so, the utilization of story allows us to feel the energy in motion, the emotion, in a way where it gives some calming, satiating energy to that mind, to the masculine. It allows him to release, to drop, and to actually land into the feminine po'ai, the feminine coven, the feminine circle of our being, of our body, so that we can actually get into right relationship with the parts of self. And again, always going back to story, the themes, to the utilization helps us essentially land in our body to, I will say, restore the kingdom and the queendom in each and every one of us, to then actually be operating from our true natures, the right relationship, the right romance. So story and the use of symbolism is massive and needed.
So I'd like to invite the people that are with us live. Feel free to put questions or comments in the chat. Feel free to raise your hand if you want to interact with us. Invitation's always open. One of the nice things about stories is that it gives our mind something to latch onto and to kind of play with. And it also gives something as a distraction for our more expansive self to receive the reminders, the transmissions, the messages, the communication that's happening at a multidimensional level. And so the stories as helpful as the words are and as beautiful as the stories can be, they can also be nothing more than a temporary distraction so that we can allow ourselves to receive and to feel a more expansive experience of ourselves.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because as I've come to understand, especially in our dense realities and third density, we are utilizing archetype to be able to basically have a bit of framework so that in these moments, exactly what you're saying, we can utilize story structure to be able to remember things, to remember our nature. Joseph Campbell hit things right on the pinpoint of our collective human consciousness when he wrote down and really anchored in a way, the hero's journey. We are all going through, each and every one of us, our own hero's journey. It may not be in the exact order. It may not be always, the exact kind of precise symbolism. But again, from my understanding and from my experience and perspective, that is something that our collective consciousness is utilizing almost as a template. That's how our race is remembering ourselves, is through story structure. And there's something so profoundly beautiful and individual, right, about how someone is going to receive story, what things are going to activate or resonate with them. And it's the profound quality, again, of our emotions, because it's going to ignite some type of emotion in us that almost in a subconscious, superconscious way, we then begin to translate what the individual meaning is, not necessarily from our mind space, but more from the activation of the emotion, which from Bella's perspective, and also from these indigenous perspectives, it is an absolutely essential aspect of what we are referring to as our ascension, is right relationship with emotion, with energy in motion. It is volatile, and that doesn't need to have a negative connotation to it, but the energy and motion, human emotion, is literally what is making our experience. It is the highest voltage of anything, is the energy and motion, and is, again, right relationship with emotion. From Bella's perspective, all energy and motion, all emotion is inherently neutral. It's only when these energy and motions are being passed through a belief system that our physical mind then interprets this voltage as a specific feeling or emotion. We could think of the ikehu, the voltage, the energy of the emotion, as water. And it is only when it's being passed through green tea leaves, then you get green tea. Again, it's the belief systems that are creating the filtration for then how our physical mind is defining that particular emotion. Again, specific emotions don't exist on their own. We need a definition. And so this process of having a right relationship with emotion then allows us to enter into a type of reverse engineering, where I think a lot of times too, perhaps there's sometimes, and depending on in different teachers or different communities, where there's a little bit of a misnomer about positive vibes, and like, what does it mean to to be positive and to be like integrative. I think sometimes people maybe assume that that means that we're not going to have dense emotions. It's not about feeling good all the time. It's about getting good at feeling and having an integrative relationship with whatever emotion is arising. Because these denser emotions, such as stress, worry, fear, all of these emotions are coming from, again, the definitions and the belief systems that we have put in place so that we can have a limiting experience. All of these limiting beliefs are, in a way, just an illusion that, yes, maybe we've had from our conditioning, from trauma, not to negate any actual experiences that we've had, because even though these are an illusion, a type of projection, most certainly from our experiences, they're very, very real. But there's a beauty that comes from when we are not judging, not condemning ourselves, not thinking, oh, I still have that feeling. Oh, I'm not enlightened enough. I didn't meditate enough today. I'm not spiritual enough. Like, no, without these dense expressions, we literally would not be having this experience. It begins to expand our imagination to remember that one level of our being, we're literally in a type of play. And I love how you opened up today as well, like who we get to play with, right? Because it's exactly what we're doing. We're in a play. And then from the other, and that aspect of the character that is experiencing third density reality, that character needs to have limiting belief systems in order to experience the human play. And most of the limiting belief systems are at the core the experience of being separate from creation, separate from divinity. And then, of course, due to the personalized experiences, we're all going to have a variation, a little potpourri of our dense belief systems. But essentially, that's the core, is being separate. Then there's the other aspect of our being that knows we have made the show, that knows we wrote the script, that knows we built the theater. And that aspect of our being has very different belief systems. That aspect of our being knows that it is the extension of creation itself. And so the application of this type of process is really very simple. And it is the ability to, again, utilize the story, utilize all aspects of our experience to allow our natural emotions to arise first, and to do our best to not get sucked into the whirlpool of the meaning, of the limitation, of all of the limiting beliefs. Yeah. But to train our neurology to get neutral enough every time, again, and go, oh, okay, if I'm experiencing this energy in motion, just in an example, as anxiety right now. Right. That's coming from a limiting belief that I'm expressing. Those are the tea leaves that I'm running that water through. I'm running it through a limiting belief. Right. I'm everything. I have all of the beliefs. Again, we begin to build the opportunity to remember that neutrality of the energy in motion, to observe. And most of us, I think, are absolutely accomplished enough at this point to be able to intellectually and sensorily feel that, oh, I have all of these contrasting beliefs at the same time. There's the part of our being that is experiencing limitation, and there's the part of our being that knows its innate connection and expansion. And we are able to observe that. And to know then that, okay, I'm everything. I have all the beliefs. I'm everything. I am a fractal of the everything. What's another way that I could interpret this same energy in motion? Okay, so my dense experience is defining this as anxiety. Oh, there's another definition of the same energy in motion as excitement. Oh, okay. What belief must I be experiencing, expressing in order to have that definition of excitement? And then this goes into the idea of the main foundational teaching, one of them. So the expression of understanding the energy in motion and using this voltage to reverse engineer ourselves is one of the main foundations that Bella speaks about. Again, this is the practicality of spirituality. And the other idea is what she refers to as the intrinsic formula. And this is the idea of how we are able to continue to absolutely be on our path of knowing ourselves, of remembering ourselves, fully being in the eye of the needle of our own being. And she always prefaces as well that these concepts are nothing that we are not already familiar with. It's just that we don't necessarily remember that it's absolute physics as well as being a nice philosophical idea. And going back to the idea of Joseph Campbell, step number 1 is to follow your bliss. Step number 1 is to be in our ability to respond to our intuition, to our true integrity, to be in the ability to respond to our passions, our excitement in each and every moment. Each and every moment. Sometimes it might translate as like, oh, I'm going to go on a vacation. Other times it's going to be like, wow, I know that I want a glass of water. Oh my gosh. Again, this gets back to the idea that everything is here and now. Everything. One moment, all right here. So whatever the next action is that we're doing is the only action. It's literally the only thing that matters because it's in the present moment. Another kind of like subtle layer to this as well is that if we're really honest, a lot of the times, most of us do not actually even know what our true yes feels like. We don't even know a lot of the times, again, if we're really honest, what our true excitement, what our true intuition really even feels like. Again, that's a consequence of the experience of these limiting beliefs, right? We've been so conditioned that a lot of us do not even know the true definition of our excitement versus our obligation, right? But the beauty of this formula, again, from the perspective of it being absolute physics, is it doesn't matter. It's all part of the beautiful process. As long as we are doing our best to be in the honest reflection of, I think this is my yes. Why am I doing this? Questioning ourselves. Where is this desire coming from? And yeah, just doing our best in each and every moment. As we continue to take actions, it continues to refine. So most of us probably had the experience of where we're like, oh yeah, I'm going to do that. And we go and we take the action. And like a week later, we're like, I think that action was from my obligation. Like, okay, cool. But without that experience, like I wouldn't have been able to live it through. Again, we have to live things through. So that's step number 1, is just to do our best to be our most authentic selves. Do your best. Step 2 is to really commit to it. Have fun with it. If it is the experience of knowing that you are thirsty and want a glass of water, how deep can we be in that moment? How committed can we be in that expression of watching your hand open the cupboard and be able to get the glass out, knowing that you have access to fresh water, like kind of using a theater term, how deeply can we milk that experience of being able to be in the expression of our full abundance? Again, it puts a completely different definition to everyday magic, right? So this is kind of like the applicable magic aspect of things, that literally everything that we are doing is ceremony if we choose to see it that way. And so we commit to it all the way through until the action has been accomplished, or also until maybe we get interested in something else. It loses its interest. We can have a very integrative form of ADD, which is attention on different dimensions. It's okay. It's what we are. So that's step 2. Step 3 is to be in a state of non-insistence, of curiosity. Because again, this begins to build on the idea of allowing our neurology to repattern, to know very deeply that, once again, everything we are experiencing is in our consciousness. Reality is not happening to us. We know that it's happening for us. But again, more specifically, it's literally happening through us. So we do not align ourselves, even speaking in such deep compassion for all of the trauma, all of the conflict, all the pain that's occurring in so many different ways in our worlds right now. But we do not align with any frame of reality that isn't there for there to be something to learn from. there's always right alignment, always, 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 because again, it's happening through us. And so once we really begin to utilize, this is where we do get to satiate that mind, yeah, and that masculine, and give him morsels of like, here's the physics. Feel that intellectually. If the one is the all and the all are the one, and everything is here and now, and there's no separation, there's never a wrong moment that's happening. Never. That goes against the physics. And so this is where we get to allow those aspects to really speak with each other. Because if we can intellectually understand that, then we can begin to repattern that child aspect of ourself, essentially, that grew up in a very different reality. And we begin to know that absolute faith, the trust, the connection that we can have with ourselves, to then be able to be in an integrative response, regardless of what happens to us. Because again, there's always going to be something to learn. There's always going to be something to extract from the experience, always. So that step 3 is to be in a state of curiosity. But again, if we understand the mechanics of it, it's a lot easier to allow that aspect of our being to relax into that, because we go, oh, 1 + 1 = 2. Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, relax. Step 4 is, again, once we've done that, once we really begin to get that, it's really easy to be in step 4, which is being in the integrative response. We're going, okay, consciousness, all right, higher self, okay, me, like, what are you here to show me in every moment, every moment, every moment? It's all the reflection for that invitation. And step 5 is then to utilize, once again, the energy and motion to find our belief systems, to ask ourselves questions. If I'm experiencing a version of energy and motion that feels dense, what am I expressing? What belief am I expressing from that is giving me that definition? Is there another way that I can interpret that energy and motion in my body? If I can find any level of integrative feeling, such as, we'll use, for example, the energy of anger, right? Like, a very integrated version of anger is creation energy. We can feel our own creation moving through our fingertips, our blood, the fire in the belly, right? An integrative way of being able to play with that ikehu of energy is a type of creation energy. But in order for us to even be having any level of integrative definition, that has to mean we're running the water through an integrative belief that is our T, right? And so step 5 then is being able to do that type of integrative process, to get very clear with what beliefs we are expressing from, to find the belief that we prefer. And then, just like all things, it's a cycle of experience. We then go back to taking the next action as the further integrated self with a refound idea without the insistence. And it just continues from there. So thank you for allowing me to kind of go into that monologue. But again, it's the foundation of what they teach. And it's so simple. And it answers all of the questions that a lot of the times we're really good at going, oh, it can't be that simple. A lot of the times we're so good at kind of going back into these different limiting beliefs of further creating complications. So a lot of the times, like, people will ask Bella or myself, what permission slips, what things do I need to do to continue to raise my vibration? Is there meditation? Is there breath work? Like, what should I do? Do this. Be this expression of the intrinsic formula. It really is all that we need. And we continue then to align with synchronicity, to align with different forms of abundance. We're also going to continue to align with realities that bring up contrast. Because we're telling our higher selves, we're telling our true nature, like, I'm ready, I'm committed, let's go. Like, show me what you got. I'm here for the refinement. Because a big aspect of the larger umbrella of knowing our intrinsic nature is then seeing things and aligning with things that are not part of our intrinsic nature, so that we can have the experience. A lot of times we experience realities that we don't prefer, just so that we can have the experience of, oh, I don't prefer that because things are so dense in this reality. We need that something to bounce off of. And so, yeah, again, it's that applicable and it's that simple, and it really is in each and every moment. So thank you, Daniel, for your wonderful kind of opening up so I could kind of just roll and take it into some of their, again, very, very practical foundations of understanding. So it's much appreciated.
There's a lot of things that I would love to kind of add to the conversation that you had, but I would rather ask if Bella wants to come forward.
Sure.
I'm just aware of the time. We've got about half an hour before the end. And granted, because this is the first session, we did a little bit of the opening ceremony. We can go a little bit past if you're okay with time. But I just wanted to give Bella some space to come and play with us.
Fun. Sounds good. Yeah, we're ready.
And just so people know, for those of you that are new to playing with me, I've got bushes on the outside of my window, and so when a bird is flying through the bushes, it catches my attention, and that's why I'm looking at all the time.
I'm sure they're coming through in kind of fun synchronistic moments. So yeah, keep listening. They're talking to you. All right. So yeah, I'll just go into a little bit of the breathing. I'll connect with her. She will always come through with a type of toning. So there'll be some toning, and then she'll say hello, and it's very kind of obvious in that way when it's time for you to start asking your questions. Very conversational. So she makes it very obvious when she's there. And we put these on just for no other reason than it's fun. Are you in this now of your time? Hello?
Hello, welcome.
How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
Wonderful, perfect, full of wonder, as always. It is my absolute joy, my intrinsic nature, to be able to be in this type of contact and communication with this version of you in this version of our collective now. You may proceed with however your imagination sees fit, with any questions, statements, reflections, or exclamations.
I would love to just give you the floor a little bit and allow you the space to share anything that you feel inspired to share to the platform of the Channeling Spirit Virtual Summit and all the listeners that are going to be joining us.
Yes. Thank you very much. One moment. One moment. Everything is here and now. As the channel expressed, what it is that you all are experiencing is a type of dream, is a projection of your consciousness. Yes, of course, we understand the experiences are very, very real. But it is just that as well, a dream, a projection. You are always utilizing the mechanics of paradox to be able to create your dense experience of what we refer to as third density. There are many different ways. It is all arbitrary in this way of different ways of classifying different dimensions, and it does not matter. But you are utilizing the experience of paradox to create your dense dream. Paradox is the idea that there are two or more contrasting ideas present in the one moment. So anytime that you are feeling the experience of disconnect, we invite you to remember the idea of paradox, that you are in actuality utilizing 100% of your innate connection with source as source to be able to experience disconnection. Anytime that perhaps you are experiencing different forms of depression, compression, well, it is what forges you into diamonds. But also, any experience of limitation is exactly equal to your capacity. It may be a little bit of a mind game at first, but we promise you, the more and more that you play with these ideas, to bring yourselves more so to the neutral space of choice, you will more and more and more begin to feel your innate cosmic energy, your indestructible core, moving through your cells, your blood, your heart, your breath. We refer to you as masters of limitation. You all are actually utilizing 100% of your brain to create the experience of utilizing 10% of your brain. You are masters of limitation. And so this is the idea of paradox, to continue to aid and assist you all in finding that space of balance so that you can choose, you can remember, you can relax into your true nature. Another idea that we will share is the idea of what we refer to as the laws of creation. These are the only laws, and these are true in all different forms of experience in any density. Number one, you exist. You exist as a perfect fractal of the all that is. Think of the all that is, the everything, the multiverse, the all that is everything, as a multifaceted, multidimensional diamond. Multifaceted diamond. Each individual is its own facet of the diamond. Creation does not make mistakes. If you exist, it is because you are needed to complete the diamond, the geometry of creation itself. There is no separation innately. There is no separation. In all love and compassion, There are no spirits, there are no ancestors that are giving you your allowance. These energies are always connected. Again, they are interwoven. They are all parts of the diamond, all facets of the face together. It is you, in your moment-to-moment choice, that gives you your own allowance. It's always just allowed. It just is. It is not being given, it is a given. It just is. God, the all that is, does not know more than you. There is nothing outside of you that knows more than you. The all that is, God, needs you to experience, to explore, so that you may relay the unknown. You are needed, perfect, necessary, unique. You are needed to complete creation's experience of itself. You are also a signature frequency, a signature vibration, again, unique, needed, and necessary, that will always exist. Always exist. Your facet of creation will always exist. Your signature vibrational energy, the you that is this physical incarnation, the you that is receiving, listening to this right now, the you that is this human, has a signature vibration that will always exist. Even when you experience the hala, the return to spirit, the signature vibration that is your energy will always, always exist into infinity and beyond. Your existence is eternal. Number one, you exist. You are an innate aspect of creation. All qualities, all attributes, such as innate safety, innate abundance, innate play, innate expansion, any qualities that you would ascribe to God, to the all that is, to the universe, is you. You are safe, for you exist. You are abundant, for you exist. Any qualities that you would also ascribe to Mother Nature, you shift, you change, you are unpredictable, you are unconditionally loving. So these are ways to continue to remember and relax into all of your true qualities. Again, there is no innate separation. You exist as a facet, as a fractal of God itself. Number two, expands on this idea a little bit more. The one is the all, and the all are the one. Everything is here and now. Again, it is one crystal, infinite facets. Also, it's many layers, many dimensions, many frequencies, all layered on top of each other, resting on a pinpoint. You are that pinpoint. There is nothing, again, actually outside of you. Each and every one of you are creating your own universe. You are a universe, so please sing your song. You are a universe. Again, there is no universe outside of you that is deciding things for you. No. The one is the all, and the all are the one. Everything is here and now. You all are creating your own version of your own universe from inside your consciousness. You all are creating your own version, unique versions of the Milky Way galaxy. You all are creating your own version of your own solar system. You all are creating your own version of planet Earth from inside your consciousness. And then, yes, you are simultaneously agreeing to experience a like enough reality. But again, specifically, you are not on a planet. That's the experience of it. But mechanically, the planet is in you. Everything here and now, you are the pinpoint experiencing whatever layer is relevant, But in actuality, there is no veil. All layers of the all that is resting on the head of a pinpoint. Law number 2, everything is here and now. The one are the all and the all are the one. Law number 3 is that it is a reflective reality. Once again, it is all actually technically inside of you. What you are experiencing as your physical reality, again, is a type of projection that is taking the clues and the coding from your belief systems, your focus. So within, so without, as above, so below. It truly is a reflective reality. You never actually change the external environment. You change your internal realities, vibrations, focus, and then you align with another version of reality that was already in existence, another layer that was already resting on the head of a pinpoint. A simple way of understanding this that we often share from our lineage is, you do not go up to the mirror and force the mirror to smile. That's silly. You smile, and then the mirror smiles. Your realities function in the same way. Now, because you are in a dense experience, oftentimes there is a little bit of a lag, because this is the larger experience that you all are desiring to have, is to know that you are changing. You need to experience the steps, the stages. It doesn't actually serve you to go from A to Z. You need to, in a way, live out the alphabet, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K. Because through your linear experiences, you need that type of the illusion of continuity to be able to know that you've changed. To be able to know that you have adjusted and refined your internal reflection before your external reality changes. You know that you have changed by experiencing the same enough reality and responding to it in a completely different way. It is part of the design of your physical realities that for a time, you are experiencing a type of funhouse mirror, a hall of mirrors. But we promise you, as you continue the self-refinement, as you continue to know in each and every moment that you are always connected, that you are infinite, utilizing the expression of paradox, that everything is here and now, more and more remembering the true constructs of your experience, we promise you, your external realities will change. It is a law of physics. It is a reflective reality. And number 4 is that everything changes except for those first 3 ideas. The first 3 ideas are what I refer to as the building block of creation, the trinity, the shape of sacred geometry that makes up reality, all forms of reality. You exist, the one is the all and the all are the one. It is a reflective reality. That is, again, the sacred geometry, the building block of reality that never changes, never changes. But once the individual is assembled into the trinity of themselves, you are then able to observe and recognize that everything else changes. Everything changes. Once again, creation needs you to explore. As you continue to ground into, solidify these understandings in your own way of your innate connection to divinity, your absolute infinity, your absolute knowing of the one is the all and the all are the one, and the knowing that it is a reflective reality, it is then through your experiences that you change and expand creation itself. All of the ways that love can know and discover and remember love. You are not actually experiencing change. It is more so that you are the energy of transformation itself. utilizing, once again, a construct of limitation to remember how unlimited you truly are. To be able to explore and relay information back to the all that is. To be able to further know yourself. That is the whole point. What is the point of existence? Exploration. Continuing to allow reality to blossom through you. The process is the point. And we look to you all as a type of masters, teachers, explorers, way-showers, adventurers into absolute transformation, fully being able to transform darkness into light, to be able to retrieve a type of pattern so that you can continue to aid and assist many beings in the reunion to innate union. So we thank you and we love you. And we thank you again for your participation and co-creation in this experience. So that's another layer, we might say, of our foundational messages. So we thank you very much for receiving.
Thank you so much for sharing that. There's a question here about your life, where you reside, and some information about yourself, if you're willing to share that.
Yes, of course. Thank you very much. So I am what you would understand to be from a generation that is genetically connected to you all. Our civilization and those like us are the product of very particular experiences of what you all have come to understand as the human gray hybrid programs. Now, I always like to specify that there are many different layers of nuance within this, and well, this is a little bit of a crude analogy, but just as an individual that is a descendant of slave owners would not necessarily condone the actions of their family, I also hold that standpoint in certain ways. Again, this is a vast and nuanced topic, but it is very important for me to make this distinction. Because there are many versions, many layers of reality, many ways that individuals can see things from a variety of perspectives. So, for instance, from one perspective, yes, we choose, you all choose, everyone chooses their experience. This is from the blueprint, this is from the oversoul, the higher self level, where individuals are making choices of their incarnational experience. And then also, from a different level of the building, there is the experience, in many different ways, of the overriding of individuals' will. And so we do not condone certain aspects, we might say, of, well, continuation of conflict. But again, there is always a greater reason for these explorations of contrast, especially within your densities. So the idea of this very particular version of the Greys was a version that de-evolved because they lost a connection to their emotions. They began a heavy reliance on technology, and along with a disconnect to their emotional body, they also experienced a disconnect with planet Earth. And so they experienced a type of de-evolution where they then had to put themselves into a form of cloned prototype body, which is now what many of you may recognize again as a form of gray. It was then deemed allowed and in ways necessary for these different beings to be able to tunnel back into different versions, different universes, to be able to find and extract viable human DNA, thus then resulting in a variety of hybridized races. So I am a representative of one of those races. I am physical. I am in, again, all of these labels are slightly arbitrary from how we are observing your realities. You all are actually existing in the fourth dimension. You are utilizing all of your experience you are utilizing all of your unlimited capacity to create the experience of being in the third dimension, but actually you're not. You are in the fourth dimension experiencing third density. As you continue your ascension, again, you are not going anywhere. There is nowhere to go. You are actually relaxing back into the density from which you have never actually left. That is more so of a physical dream reality, a physical dream density. Meaning you would then relax, and many of you are jumping in and out of, we might say, fourth density and third density. Now, again, the labels really do not matter, for there are many different ways that your civilization is translating these concepts. But again, essentially, you are remembering yourself back into the place from which you have never actually left. My civilization, the civilization of the Yael, has always been in fourth density. There really is not very many differences between us, between our biology. We do look in a way a little bit more, we might say, gray. Our eyes are a little bit bigger than yours. But really, you wouldn't be able to decipher too much difference between us. And the only difference really between us is that you all chose to have the experience of forgetting so that you could remember. We had the experience of never forgetting so that we could aid and assist you all in remembering. And together we are literally rewriting a new dream together. I am positioned in what you would understand as a type of dream. Again, though we are physical, we still eat. We have many crafts that are able to come and go at different points from your densities when needed and necessary. We are deeply connected with nature, with Mother Earth, with Gaia. We are existing in, again, a type of dream density overlay that is connected to ancient versions of Earth and the versions of Earth that we will all recreate, create together. We are literally remembering the dream together. In my specific department as well, we are also exploring and finding the actual root of all alien races, or we might say aliens existing within what you would understand to be humanoid manifestation. All quote-unquote extraterrestrial or quote-unquote alien races that you all have names for at this point, we are all biologically connected. And so it has been part of my specific branch to align with different versions of the multiverse to be able to find the stories of the root of this DNA, of this magic, God, light being DNA. This is a relatively new story that we are presenting to you all, but it is the idea that the organic root, the true manifestation of physical form, has always come from Gaia. Always been Earth. That there have been many stories spun in different ways to you all that perhaps are giving stories that the magic, the intelligence, the multidimensional qualities would not have been present in your forms had you all not had the, we might say, infiltration of alien beings. This is not so. From our recent discoveries and understandings and remembrance, it has always been the root of Gaia, the manifestation of Gaia's imagination that has led to the experience of magic and multidimensional connectivity. And again, there have been many stories in many ways spun and continuing to be spun so that you all have the experience simply enough of deciding what story you prefer. And it puts you all squarely in your space of power. So, for simplification, once again, we are existing in a slight density dream overlay, very deeply connected to planet Earth. We do have some physical crafts, and we are physical in nature. You could touch us, we could eat with you, and we procreate in ways that you would understand as organic. So we thank you for this level of specificity.
Thank you for that. I have a slightly kind of scientific question here. How different are our genomes, or are they similar, and do you have different gene expressions?
They are similar enough. We would be able to, we might say, procreate. They're similar enough. Because again, understand that the mix of our DNA, the gray DNA, was still originally human. So we are not that different from you at all. Most, again, aliens, extraterrestrials, quote unquote, as you are defining it, are also not that different from you, because the root, as we've come to recently understand, has always been human.
That's quite interesting.
Yes, it's a spiral. Again, this is a slightly different spin. And again, story, utilize it however you wish. But again, it is the opportunity, feel the laugh, feel the giggle, there it is, the opportunity for you to remember how powerful you have been all along. You've always had the ruby slippers on your feet, you just needed to experience the story. This allows you all the responsibility of your true selves. Nothing's coming to save you because you don't actually need to be saved. There's innately no difference between us. Fundamentally. Very, very little. And again, that's the allegorical invitation for you to remember what human really is.
Beautiful.
Yes. So be you to the fullest.
Thank you so much for coming to play with us. I really appreciate it. Is there anything else that you would like to share before we allow our friend to come back?
Yes. This would be the other fundamental aspect of our teachings, and this is the idea of permission slips. That is any tool, any technique, any tradition, any idea of application, any physical experience is what we refer to as a permission slip. And that is the idea of any physical experience that is giving you the process of receiving your permission that is always being sent. The experience of receiving the activation, your true essence, the permission, once again, that is always being sent. Again, it's a given. But because you all are in physical realities, you need physical experiences to take yourself through the process of the reclamation of your innate permission. Every aspect of your reality is neutral, is there for you to decide what to do with it, to continue to activate and remember and relax into your true essence. Think of it as the sets, the props of your play. Every aspect of your reality is a physical permission slip. So certainly, as you all are continuing to explore what it is you are labeling as spiritual experiences, reminding you, you know that everything you do is a spiritual experience because you are a spiritual being having any experience. But oftentimes, sometimes you can get, we might say, caught up a bit in terms of what specific traditions, what modalities, what can I do to continue my expansion? And this is why we offer the idea of a permission slip, is it does not matter what you are doing. Yes, perhaps there are certain ideas that have more of a consensus belief behind them. But again, it is the offer for you all to expand your senses into the idea that literally every single aspect of your physical reality is a permission slip designed to give you the opportunity to further know yourself. So remember that as you continue to explore, to receive different ideas of spiritual information, to explore different traditions. Remember as well that it makes no sense to should on yourself. Oh, should I do this? What should I do this? What is the universe saying? No. What do you desire? What do you want? What song are you singing through your universe? Everything is neutral. What matters, what literally puts the matter into the physical experience is your focus, your intention, your desires, your applicable magic in action. Very freeing, very opening, and we promise you, you are capable, we might say, of being that empowered because it is what you all naturally are. So, to recap a bit, again, this is the fundamental messages, the idea, first and foremost, of the formula that the channel shared, the intrinsic formula. Number 2 is the idea of the utilization, the right relationship with energy in motion, emotion. Number 3 is what we refer to as the laws of creation, the fabric of reality. And number 4 is the idea of permission slips. We promise you that if you explore and utilize and apply these concepts, you will relieve yourself of much of your spiritual confusion. The trick of your confusion can end as soon as you allow yourselves to fully co-fuse yourselves. And it really is very simple. So once again, we thank you very much for this opportunity, for this introduction, and to be able to meet you all, to share our vibrations in this way. We are one heart beating together. We are one song singing infinite harmony lines together. We love you individually and collectively. We do see you as family, and so we thank you very deeply for your participation. We thank you very deeply for the opportunity of our incarnations. You are in many ways our ancestors. Mahalo na kupuna. Mahalo. Thank you. Aveo.
Thank you very much.
We are always connected. Thank you. We bid you an exciting now, a calming, grounding, relaxing, invigorating now, filled with all of the further remembering, ring, of all you know. Our deep, unconditional, and infinite love to all of you, and to all of you, good now. Fun. Cool.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
So just out of curiosity, given the topic of this summit, when you channel, are you present during it? Are you aware of everything that's happening, or are you removed from the process?
It's very dynamic. It really depends. Most of the time, I guess to use terminology that people might understand, most of the time it's, I would suppose, like a trance channel. The interesting thing though for me is that it's my emotions that are still very present. So I experience what it feels like to be looking at reality from her perspective. That level of just absolute, like, a surety, observation. Like, this is just what, like, I'm looking at it. This is what it is. And so there's that type of emotional quality that one level of the channeling, from their perspective and kind of from the soul perspective, that's the whole point, is for the human to be affected by it, so that more and more, kind of through a systematic titration of the exposure to it, the human really begins to transform and remember what is our natural perspective through the exposure of the vibration. That's really the whole point of all channeling, is for the vessel to be affected. And then everything else is like a cool after effect. You know what I mean? So then also there's times where, like right now, I was just kind of taking a nap. I was really kind of removed from it. A lot of the stuff that she shared was the foundation. It's stuff that's very like, we've said it a lot. Sometimes, depending on, because like also in a setting like this, she's very aware that there's however many people listening, that there's going to be however many people listening in the future. And she's speaking from outside of space and time. So a lot of the things, especially when it's known it's going to be for a community for some time in the future, it's generally kind of broad, and kind of comes through in a way of her being that I'm very used to. Sometimes in private sessions, though, there's just a different, she can kind of go different places because it's not going to be on the internet for however long, and so in those moments, she can sometimes be a slightly different version of herself, where she can get really specific with people. And I kind of sometimes get the opportunity to go, oh, like, I haven't heard her explain something like this in this way. Like, oh, I'm going to kind of listen. The other thing though, that's really cool about just the process is I'll be left in a way with kind of the general themes that were explored, and almost certainly be left with, because what she's reading, especially in private sessions, she's reading the signature vibration of the individual. And so I'm left with like this awe, like it's almost like I can imagine or feel like what a parent feels like meeting their like, I'm just left with this like, wow, we are just all so stunning, because I get to see all of the dynamics of the frequency of the soul. So I'm left with just like this absolute awe and reverence for what we are as a species. But yeah, the cool part of the mechanics is I don't remember like personal specific details. So people in a way are almost like able to have like client confidentiality with Bella. And then because I also do sessions as myself. So sometimes people have to be like, oh, actually, I didn't tell you this. I told Bella this. Like, I have to like fill you, or not. They don't even have to share certain things with me. So yeah, I know it's kind of long-winded, but it's very dynamic depending on what the situation is.
Perfect. So speaking of, we have a special invitation that we're offering the listeners. I'll let Gita talk about it. It is going to happen on the 18th, is it not? Am I remembering that correctly?
Yes. Yeah.
So it's going to be happening pretty soon. But I'll let you kind of talk about that. And also, how can people reach out to you? How can they connect with you? And of course, anybody that's listening to this, if you go to the website, there's the details of how to reach her website. And regardless of how and when you're listening to this out in the the internet. There will be details again in the description of this conversation for how to reach out to Gita and work with her directly. But I'll let you kind of describe the special invitation.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you so much, Daniel. Yeah, the special invitation is actually for next Saturday. Bella and I do live events, online Zoom events once a month. So next week is going to be titled A Wolf in the Night. And she is going to be getting into these different stories of totem animals, of earth totem animals that she met throughout her journey, and how these stories can continue to aid and assist us in our remembrance and a deepening connection with our natures. There's always going to be ample time for questions and reflections. The recording is included, and the usual price for these events is $35, but I was like, $20, come on over, you guys. And yeah, right now that's just kind of the easiest thing. I know that that really only applies to people that are here and live or maybe listening within the next few days. But for anyone here listening, or also for perhaps in the future, my website is gitarose.com, and I have a variety of different packages, things available, so you guys can peruse that. And then also I'm fairly active on Instagram, which is the handle of that is at Gita Rose. As well, my YouTube, I think is really fun for people that are maybe just hearing about me. You can just, I forget exactly what my handle is, but you can just type in Gita Rose. And I've got lots of different videos that go into different stories of who Bella is, just different aspects of how because just the process of getting to know exactly who she was, who she is, and then a lot of different kind of like blog style stuff as myself, talking about how I really apply a lot of these different information. So yeah, the YouTube is also a fun place for people to peruse. There's also some more channeling of Bella on there. There's like 160 some odd videos on there, so you can just kind of peruse and have fun. And
beautiful.
Yeah, that's the jam. Yeah.
Excellent. So thank you so much again, Gita, for coming to play with us. I'm honored to meet you, and looking forward to our future co-creations, whatever that might be.
Yeah.
For those of you that are with us, I'm gonna be cutting this conversation off at this point because we're starting off in 15 minutes, and I need to go and do some things in preparation for that. So Gita, again, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for all that you do, and thanks for going over, and I'll see you in the next now. And thank you, everyone.
Absolutely. And so for those of you that are joining us back, again, the link is in your email, and I will see you guys in 15 minutes, and I will leave you until then with, what is it? Being spirit, being human, simply being from love.
Cool. Yeah. Simple.
I haven't said it in a while. I apologize.
Sounds great.
Anyway, lots of love to you guys, and I will see you soon.
Take care, everyone. Aloha. Thank you again, Daniel.
Bye-bye. Thank you for being part of this incredible experience. We hope that this session has inspired a new level of understanding within you, allowing you to expand more easily into the essence of your true self and become an even more powerful alchemist in your own life. We invite you to listen to the session again and again in order to go deeper each time and expand even more. Have it be via the replays or the unlimited access package. If you have enjoyed being part of this event, we invite you to tell your friends so that they can join us in the future. We are grateful that you are here, and we thank you for co-creating this experience with us. Until next time, we leave you with being spirit, being human, and simply being from love.